If I could carry on riding a Moto2 bike alongside obviously quitting with Robin earlier in the season, and as you say, everything was amicable and absolutely fine and still got on great. It just happens now I'm to be looking for another ride in BSB. I am really keen to stay in BSB, and I do have a fair bit of unfinished business here. I feel I can do well here, so that's a priority really, is to get riding BSB, but it just seems to happen that I can keep riding this Moto2 bike out in Spain and keep bike fit.
How many races have you got on Moto2?
There's 3 more left this season, one in Albacete, Valencia and Jerez, and I'm looking forward to them. I think it's a good class out there. But like I say, I didn't want to quit here. It's just the situation was forced upon us, me and Robin, and we went our separate ways. But I'm certainly looking to get back into BSB this season.
Well, Dan, I thought you were having some strong rides on that bike. I really did this year, and it was great to see you out there. Hopefully we will see you back. But Dan Linfoot, thanks for joining us. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.
There we go then, Dan Linfoot out on Moto2. The Metzler National Superstock1000 is just about to get underway now, though, and you heard the klaxons, everybody going off here. And we have just one person before we go to the race, and this is Alan Jones from Ducati UK. Now, Alan, you look after a lot of the 848 Challenge, and I believe that you've got a bit of an announcement to make.
Yeah, we've decided, because of the success of this year, that we're going to run 848 Challenge next year. So pretty much same format, 5 or 6 UK rounds and 2 overseas rounds. I mean, this year we've been to Monza and Assen. And, the guys love it. There's not many championships that you can do, of this level where you can end up going to places like Assen and Monza and racing crowds such as these. So, yeah, it's been great. It's been great. It's a good championship. It's been really close racing. I mean, that race was probably, one of the bigger gaps we've had this season. I think we've had 8 or 9 races where there's only been a second gap between the first 2. So, it's something that the guys enjoy, the spectators enjoy, and it's good TV as well.
Now, Ducati had a lot of success recently with bikes like the Ducati Diavel and the 848 and things like that. So next year you're going to be putting a lot of emphasis on, I don't know, maybe something that's coming, maybe a new superbike perhaps. Can you tell us something about that?
I'll be concentrating.
I'm talking about the 1199 superbike, just in case you didn't get it.
On the 848 Challenge.
Oh, I like it. Very diplomatic indeed. Valentino Rossi riding for Ducati is a very good thing, of course. Ducati looking forward to him next year in MotoGP. Next year will be the year he's got to go for the title on the 1000.
Absolutely, absolutely. The guys will get there, and he'll be back where he belongs, on the podium.
OK, well, that's a nice statement to make. Alan Jones, thanks very much for talking to us. Alan Jones there on the 848 Challenge show. That will continue for next year. The Metzler National Superstock 1000 is about to get underway then, so let's hand over to our commentators for this one, James Whittam and Jack Burnicle.
The Metzler National Superstock 1000 here at Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix circuit at this beautiful Kentish venue that first started racing on tarmac 61 years ago. Now, there is a change, of course, in this championship, and it's a vital one, because only 2 points separated the leaders after the wet round at Alton Park that was shortened due to Danny Buchan's crash and a red flag. Tristan Palmer got stripped of 50 points because his GB Motor Honda was, that's the purple bike, number 33, was stripped after the race at Alton Park and found to have some kind of illegal defect stroke modifications, and so 50 points were taken off his score. He actually still remains third in the championship, the quiet, amiable Midlander, down on 65 points. Danny Buchan now leads it on 117, and it's Richard Cooper on 110.5 who moves into second place. So Richard Cooper, diminutive Nottinghamshire man, is now the main challenger to the big bruiser Danny Buchan.
Yeah, tragic that for Tristan Palmer. I mean, whether he knew that there was anything wrong with the bike or not, I mean, I don't know what they're staying fairly tight-lipped as to what the technical infringement was on that bike, but certainly it didn't look like it was 20 mile an hour quicker than anything else, and Tristan Palmer's been riding fantastically all year.
So he drops to third. There's confirmation of Buchan leading on 117, 110.5 for Cooper, 65 for Tristan Palmer. Still in the mix then. 61 for the injured Jason O'Halloran. Wonderful to see Jason here in the HM Plant Honda pit on the road to recovery. Luke Quigley, 57 in 5th place. Adam Jenkinson on 56.5 is half a point behind in 6th. Howie Mainwaring on pole position here is 7th on 54, ahead of Victor Cox, also on the front row on 41. Joel Burns heading up the second row here. The teenage Geordie on 33.5 is 9th, ahead of John McGuinness, the contrastingly aged Morecambe Bricky in 10th place, ahead of Jimmy Storer, Marshall Neal, John O'Howarth, Michael Booth. Dan Johnson, who's changed to a Kawasaki for this round, ahead of Hunt, Dickinson, Ingram, Costello and Stewart. This is how the final grid positions look then. Howie Mainwaring has put himself on pole. Victor Cox second in a Kawasaki 1-2 ahead of Cooper's BMW. And Tristan Palmer proving that GB Motors Honda is still just as quick in its standard form. Joe Burns, Kawasaki, now heads up row 2 ahead of Adam Jenkinson on the Paget's Honda. His teammate Joe Dickinson and Jimmy Storer's BMW. Row 3, Luke Quigley's BMW ahead of John McGuinness Honda. Luke Jones, having won the Triumph Triple race earlier today, has to now get used to the 1000cc HM Plant Honda, and Jonathan Howarth. And then row 4, Leon Hunt, Daniel Johnson, David Johnson, who was on the GP Motors Honda and has now moved to Kawasaki, and Danny Buchan qualifying 1.1 second off the pace, still of course riding with that damaged collarbone from his previous pair of accidents. So watch the lights. When they come on, they'll then immediately go off, or fairly immediately, and these guys will be in action. The GB Motors Honda nearest to us. There is Howie Mainwaring. He's suffered some frustrations, of course. He's bailed a couple of times when he's been in promising positions. He won't want that to happen again here at Brands Hatch. The lights go off and the Metzler National Superstock 1000 takes off, and a great start for Victor Cox. The Wiltshireman hits the front. So Victor Cox, the quicker of the two Kawasaki's off the front row, he leads the way up the hill towards Druids Hill Bend.
Yeah, and again, a big ask to get all these bikes round, 3 or 4 abreast round Druids, full grid, 40 people out there.
Someone got really sat up, James, but saved it.
Yeah, but that's normal. I mean, you expect that. If you're on the outside, people trailing legs, look, there's all sorts of styles going on there.
This is a full-on 40 riders, James, out there. Cox, Mainwaring, Richard Cooper, Quigley, Storer, Palmer, Joe Burns, Adam Jenkinson, Danny Buchan. Where's he come from? He was 16th on the grid.
That's it, he's come from 16th.
Wow, well, an impressive start then for the championship leader. Big Dan is in there in the mix already. As they go along the Derek Minter straight.
Howie Mainwaring looks like he's looking for a way past Victor Cox. He's not going to waste any time, I don't think. Howie's been pretty quick all weekend.
Howie always looks as if he's got that kind of swan neck look to him, as if he's peering ahead to find a way through.
He's a loiterer.
Cox, Mainwaring and Richard Cooper. What a contrast. Cox and Mainwaring, both 6-footers, and Richard Cooper is tiny.
Tiny, he's a little fella, yep, he is. And he's possibly on the biggest physically biggest bike out there. With virtually all the same weight, near enough the same power, all fairly stock bikes. But physically, the BMW is a fairly big bike.
And here is Howie Mainwaring cutting through at Paddock Hill Bend. He takes the lead for the MSS Colchester Kawasaki team and birthday boy team manager Nick Morgan.
Yeah, cuts across and he takes Victor Cox with him onto the inside.
Richard Cooper has a look underneath, and there's a bit of fencing going on further back because Danny Buchan momentarily got the better of Adam Jenkinson into Clark's curve, and was immediately retaken by the determined Mancunian.
Yeah, 54 Jimmy Storer, you can see him there. The Scotsman on his BMW had lots of problems with the bike. He had a gearbox go and lots of kind of niggles, but when the thing's going, he's really quick on it, Jimmy.
So Jimmy Storer from Perth on the Jimmy Storer Racing BMW plunges into Hawthorne Hill. Yeah,
sponsored by ex-British champions Ian Duffus and Brian Morrison, and ex-world champ, I think, Brian Morrison in the endurance class. Bunch of Scotsmen, they all come down with the trials bikes occasionally, and I can tell you, none of them can ride that well, because I'm rubbish, and they're worse than me.
Cox, Mainwaring, Cooper are at the front. Storer, Luke Quigley is in another of the BMWs. There's a BMW 345 formation here, ahead of Tristan Palmer in 6th. Joe Burns, who's moved from BMW to Kawasaki, is in 7th, ahead of Adam Jenkinson, Danny Buchan, and number 86 is Daniel Johnson from Reading on the C&D Autos Racing Kawasaki, having made that change. Oh,
look at that.
Howie.
It dropped,
what does that feel like?
It actually it was a little bit wide, and the track actually goes up and then drops away, and he went over the crest, and that took the weight off the rear end.
Cooper notches up a place into 2nd place, looking dangerous on the build-based BMW. And of course, if Cooper can get plenty of riders between himself and Danny Buchan, this could see a change in the leadership of the championship.
It could, yeah.
But at the moment, Danny's down in 9th place. That's worth only 7 points. Richard's there on a potential 20, at least, in 2nd.
Yeah.
Mind you, with this many riders this close together, anything could yet happen. We're on the 3rd lap of 15.
Cooper pretty solid, you know, when you look at his results. Scored every single round, won a couple of them seconds. His last round, really, Alton, was his worst, and that was the one that was only credited with sort of half. You know, it would have been a lot better should it run to the end. I had it run to the end.
Very impressive ride by number 86, Dan Johnson. His first time out on a Kawasaki after being on a 3 or 4 year old Yamaha R1 up until now in the championship, and there he is sitting right in behind championship leader Danny Buchan.
Yeah, and Yamaha not the bike of choice in this class. They're a brilliant bike, but the cross-plane crank on that R1 the last few years means that they have to run a balancer shaft, which means they're about 7 brake horsepower down at sort of 12,000 RPM, which robs them of a little bit of top speed. They're lovely to ride, lots of mid-range, and you can't get around that in this Superstock form.
Mainwaring, Cooper Cox across the line. Storer's right in there. Quigley on the bright pale blue bike is there as well, ahead of Tristan Palmer on the distinctive purple one. And here comes Cooper.
Yeah.
Just slots up the inside past the MSS Colchester Kawasaki.
Yeah, and he's clean, you know, and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's finished every single race this season, and it's just not like him to make a lunge and it not work. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to fetch anybody off or himself.
This is a pretty tight contest. Danny Buchan's pretty much at the back of it with Dan Johnson, and that's 1st to 10 in one picture, James.
I tell you what, I mean, whatever's happened in the last couple of rounds to Tristan Palmer, he's getting stuck in there. He's back down in about 5th or 6th now, making sort of progress forward.
Here comes, and this is Storer moving past Victor Cox into 3rd place. So Jimmy Storer, all the way down from Perth, moves through. And just behind him is Midlander Luke Quigley, and then yet another Midlander, Tristan Palmer.
Of all the 1000cc sports bikes, it's the Kawasaki, and particularly the BMW, that seem to have more power as a standard bike. Oh, here we go. Is Victor Cox fighting back?
So Cox retakes 3rd place.
Yep. Like I was saying, these things are all, as a standard bike, as you buy them from the local bike shop, you're looking at between about 170 and 190 brake horsepower with a power commander, which is an ECU unit, an ignition and injection system on there, aftermarket one, and a pipe, an exhaust pipe. You're looking at getting on for 200 horsepower, particularly for the BMWs. Lots and lots of power. And to put that in a little bit of perspective for those who don't ride bikes, that is like, well, that's about, well, it's well over 1,000 horsepower. Oh, did you see that? Take a look at this, Jack, you've got to see this.
That was Victor Cox having a biggie.
Victor Cox, both legs off the peg. Watch this, watch.
Oh, well saved. Wowee.
You don't, I tell you what, you don't get away with much worse than that without getting your back.
I tell you what, that's a big, strong 6'2" Wiltshireman saving that, isn't it? He used everything he had to keep that upright, James.
And like I was saying, these things, they're about 200 brake horse and weigh about 200 kilos, and that's about 1,000 brake horse per ton power to weight. Imagine putting like a 2,500 horsepower engine in your family saloon, and that's about the power that we're talking about. 0 to 60 with the right gearing on of about 2 seconds.
2 seconds?
About 2 seconds, yeah. That's about as much as you can actually cling on.
Quigley's broken through, look, into 3rd place. And looking pretty threatening, is he, on the Formwise Racing BMW? Luke Quigley now 31 years old. No, 32. Comes from Brearley Hill in the Midlands. He's a roofer by occupation.
Same place as Michael Rutter originally is from.
Yep, and he's now, well, he's clearing off slightly. Jimmy Storer just behind him now in 4th. Victor Cox, after that miraculous recovery, is in 5th. 6th is Tristan Palmer, 7th Joe Burns, 8th Adam Jenkinson, 9th Buchan, 10th Danny Johnson. That is that amazing top 10 that are all, well, they were running nose to tail just a couple of laps ago. They're just beginning to break up now. That's mainly because these two have slightly broken clear. They're lapping at low 129s. The other guys are kind of mid-29s, even up to 130s.
Yep.
Howie Mainwaring, his riding style, Jay. Oh, his riding style is, well, it makes him look taller than he is. I mean, he's a tall lad, but he looks about 6'8" the way he towers above the screen.
He actually isn't that tall. He's only just marginally taller than me, so he's about sort of 5'9", 5'10", that's all. It's not hugely tall.
So we got Richard Cooper, who rides a van for Pidcocks of Nottingham, drives a van rather, leading this top 10. And then at the back there, the final Kawasaki. If you want any double glazing done, Dan Johnson's the man to contact in the Reading area.
Well, from what I've seen of white van drivers, I've got to say that's probably good practice for this kind of car, did you say?
He says it's not a white van anymore. They've got him a new one and it's not white.
That's like stealth white van. Oh, and I tell you what, I am being told it is sprinkling with rain. There's spots of rain around the back end of this Brands Hatch circuit. This will put the cat amongst the pigeons. You can see everybody's just about sliding about. They're still all pushing on though, Jack.
Right, and the coach are going on in the grandstand. There is a chilly wind blowing across Brands Hatch. We've had beautiful weather up till now. Ooh.
And what you'll see, the first thing you do when you see spots of rain in your visor and on your screen is keep off the white lines, keep off the paint, because if you touch those and you hit just 1 or 2 drops of rain on that paint, you're going down. There's no question of that. Oh, are they still? Did you see
the white line?
Yeah, hit the white line, got a big slide and got away with it.
There was a person there wrestling with a yellow sou'wester. Like, I don't think they're going to see any more racing today, judging by the mess they're in.
And all you can, he's never going to get out of that sou'wester, is he? The only thing you can do in this situation for the riders is keep going, keep pushing as much as you can, hope you don't hit a damp patch and fall down, and wait till he stop the race.
I tell you what, it's not slowing down Joy Burns, Chris Burns' kid brother. Chris Burns, of course, racing the Dutch Championship at Assen this weekend on a Honda, and his teenaged half-brother has just whisked through into 6th place.
The most difficult place to be at the moment, is doing a mega job of it, is Richard Cooper, because you see the spots of rain. You don't want to be pulling away and then find out you're on your backside. You know, it's difficult to know just how quick you're. It wouldn't surprise me if I had a quick look back just to see where everybody is. And in fact, Harry Mainraid is up the inside, and that you could actually see that coming, because it's difficult to know how hard to push. A lot easier to follow somebody and gauge what you were doing by how much grip they are seen to be getting by yourself.
So Howie Mainwaring moves back to the front on bike number 43. Is nothing if not brave. The Cheshireman, who's now based down in Essex and trains with his teammate Danny Buchan, the championship leader.
Oh, he's brave. You can tell that by the amount of tattoos. Every time he comes to a meet, he's got more tattoos. There's not much space left.
That was part of his previous occupation as a male model.
I was a pole dancer as the boy. I wasn't a table dancer or something, yeah.
So Howie Mainwaring leads the way. Richard Cooper in second. 3rd place, an impressive ride by Luke Quigley. If I remember rightly, Luke actually proposed to his girlfriend on the starting grid a couple of years back here, as we saw Jonathan Howarth roll off. Jonathan Howarth, number 34, pulling out of the race on the Team Green GNS Racing Kawasaki. So bye-bye to the Barnsley boy. Number 54, Jimmy Storer, not getting on with the slightly dodgy conditions quite as well. And he's back now behind Victor Cox.
Yeah, Jimmy Storer's a strange one, really. When you meet him, he's kind of quiet and laid back and not very pushy at all. He's a really nice laid back lad, but really quite aggressive on a bike, you know. And it amazes me sometimes. Richard Cooper, the nicest, softest little fella you can meet, but yeah, he's a bit of a lunatic on a bike, and it shocks me always that.
John Kirkham, of course, dominated this championship last year for BMW ahead of Glenn Richards. Tristan Palmer was 3rd. Howie Mainwaring achieved his best result in the Superstock Championship with a 4th place last year. And currently, of course, he lies in 5th place in the championship. If he could win this, well, there's no guarantee of that. We're on the 9th lap of 15, just beyond half distance, and a faller.
That could be Cox. I don't know what it is. It's one of the Kawasaki's. Can't get a number. The screen's been smashed off it.
Is it Victor Cox? Yes.
Could well be.
It is Victor Cox, and after saving what he saved at Druids Hill, he'll be pretty upset with himself there. And now he begins to feel the pain, James.
Yeah, it looks like his
groin.
I think the Queensberrys have got it there. Let's have a look. Oh, and that. Oh
dear.
I think he's got a slide early on in Paddock Hill, and that sent him straight off the track. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be all right. He did get up. Looks like a bit winded, or maybe, like I said, bashed himself in
the painter and decorator from Trowbridge in Wiltshire, then Victor Cox. He's crashed out spectacularly at Paddock Hill, Ben. He might have to put off 1 or 2 decorating jobs tomorrow, James, or the rest of this week.
Yeah, stay off the ladders for a week. And I'll tell you, whatever is going on with the weather, we keep seeing little bits of spots are in on some. Oh, look at that. Lovely, lovely formation sliding out of Sheens there. Whatever it is, it's not holding the boys up a lot. They're using all the paint now, which means they're fairly confident There's not a lot of sort of dampness, moisture about there, and the times are still pretty good, within a half a second of the fastest laps they've done. So they're still fairly confident there's grip out there.
There is Storer. He's now been elevated to 4th place by that mishap. There's the first 3 across the line. Mainwaring, Cooper, Quigley. And then the second stream. Storer, Palmer, Adam Jenkinson back in front of Joe Burns now. Dan Johnson has got the better of Danny Buchan. He's having a scalding intro to the National Metzler Superstock Championship on a Kawasaki. Behind him, Buchan 9th. Joe Dickinson now 10th on the second of the Paget's Hondas.
Yeah, these things, all these 1 litre sports bikes are exactly, almost identical to what you could actually go and buy and put on the road and ride round and go to the shops and all the rest of it, go out with your mates. The only difference is the lights and the road clutter, the indicators, etc. taken off, a little bit of an injection ignition system on there and a pipe, and that is it. They run pretty much standard discs, suspension, all the rest of it. But you cannot believe, and I can't stress what a potent machine these are. Like I say, it would be like putting a 2,500 horsepower lump into your Ford Focus.
Referring back to the look, Dan Johnson there, who's riding on bike number 86, making his debut on Kawasaki. Been riding that elderly R1 Yamaha, lies 15th in the championship. If he can score this kind of lump of points here, he's going to move up at least a couple of places in the championship table. In fact, possibly even more, because Marshall Neal's struggling just outside the points on his Aprilia.
Yeah, the big man, John McGuinness there, TT legend, he's sliding it out of Sheens there. Everybody seems to be able to do that, but McGuinness is a man that knows how fast he can go, and he can run at a still incredibly fast pace, can John, but loves his motorbike racing, knows how fast he can go, not prepared to do anything that daft. You know, prefer to see people around him doing daft stuff, running off track, etc. But still loves his racing and still can push a bike around the track really well.
Just behind Leon Hunt on the AP Kawasaki, the lad from Brighton. And just ahead of him, David Johnson, who's swapped from the GB Motors Honda, the Australia, onto a Sondel Kawasaki. At the front, this is the more likely green-painted Kawasaki of MSS Colchester Kawasaki's Howie Mainwaring. How many times can I say Kawasaki in one sentence? Richard Cooper in 2nd place, Luke Quigley in 3rd, as they lap a rider keeping well out of the way. That's Taylor Knapp from America on the CN Racing Kawasaki, and the red flag's gone out. Is that rain?
We don't quite know why, but you would suspect.
They've done 2/3 of race distance. That would be that could be victory for Howie Mainwaring. He's just realised it. So Howie Mainwaring takes victory. I think it might be his first victory of the season. He's had 2 third places, one at Thruxton, one at Snetterton, and the likeable Cheshireman has finally made it count here at Brands Hatch, and that is a birthday present for Nick Morgan, the team boss.
Yeah, he's been waiting for one all day, and I've got to say that that's been coming for Howie Mainwaring. He's been on the pipe all year. He's not been slow at any of the circuits, had a little bit of bad luck, jumped off a couple of times, but he has deserved that, and he's deserved it for all season.
Danny Buchan sportingly congratulates him. Buchan, of course, well, actually, will Danny be the championship leader? Only gets 7 points there. Richard Cooper gets 20. It will be a new championship leader. Richard Cooper on the build-based BMW as the red flag goes out, and it looks like there's right, because of track conditions. Richard Cooper will become the new championship leader.
He will,
I think.
20 by about, hang on a minute, 6 points, I think.
And a half. There's a half in there somewhere, strangely.
Yeah. That's
I'm very impressed with the way that Howie can stand up on the bike like that for so long, waving at people.
Yeah, when he's still going at probably 50 or 60 miles an hour, and it is wet. Look, you can just see how wet it is. And I'll tell you what, they did that absolutely perfectly. The race control monitor conditions. They've got video footage from all around the circuit, and they can tell what's going on. They're getting reports from the marshals as well, and they did that absolutely spot on. We've had 2 thirds and it counts as a result. Nobody's had a big accident, and that's really good. That's a good race direction, is that.
So a great result then for Nick Morgan, for MSS Colchester Kawasaki. A shame for the huge crowd here at Brands Hatch that the weather has turned so suddenly. Mainwaring wins it from Richard Cooper's build-based BMW. Luke Quigley finishes next up. Quigley riding bike number 51, the Formwise Astro Racing BMW, finishes in 3rd place. Jimmy Storer in 4th. The GB Motors Honda of Tristan Palmer 5th, ahead of the similar machine, the Paget's bike of Adam Jenkinson. In 7th place, we get number 53, the young Geordie Joe Burns on the Primo Racing Kawasaki out of the same garage as Chris Walker. Dan Johnson, great result for him, making the swap to Kawasaki. He finishes 8th ahead of Danny Buchan, 9th for MSS Colchester Kawasaki. Joe Dickinson, Paget's Honda in 10th. And then David Johnson on a Sondel Kawasaki. The Australian finishes 11th ahead of Leon Hunt on the AP Kawasaki. John McGuinness, Paget's Honda. And Patrick Metcalf, a young Australian, coming over to try his luck here, getting some advice from more experienced fellow Aussies. He is on an AP Kawasaki. He finishes 14th. And the last point goes to Lee Costello, number 39 from Bolton on the Interim Services Honda, ahead of Chris Northover, Marshall Neal, Connor Cummings, Dan Stewart, with Chapman's BMW 20th. An astonishing change in the weather here at Brands Hatch, and a change in the championship at the top. It is indeed. Well done, James Whittam. 6.5 points separate Richard Cooper, for the new championship leader, from Danny Buchan. Howie Mainwaring has moved into 3rd place with that race win, past the hapless Tristan Palmer and his GB Motors Honda. They dropped 3 points behind in 4th. Luke Quigley is just 3 points further back in 5th, ahead of Adam Jenkinson 6th. Jason O'Halloran slips to 7th. Joe Burns moves 8th. Jimmy Storer 9th. Victor Cox, unlucky, crashed out of that race and drops to 10th in the championship ahead of John McGuinness and Marshall Neal. Daniel Johnson moves into 13th. John O'Howarth drops to 14th. Michael Booth 15th ahead of Joe Dickinson, Gavin Hunt, John Ingram, Lee Costello and Leon Hunt. The start of the Metzler National Superstock 1000cc Championship. Great start by Victor Cox from 2nd place on the grid as they surge down Paddock Hill Bend. Victor then from Trowbridge in Wiltshire in the lead. 40 riders on the grid, so it's a crowded first turn, and somehow, despite that incident right in the middle of the pack, they make it stick. And as they go up the hill towards Stewart's Hill Bend, Richard Cooper makes a move past early leader Victor Cox. Howie Mainwaring leads the way, but not for long. The BMW soon flies past, and then Luke Quigley on that bright blue Astro BMW, he begins to make a move on the blue and red number 51, and that miraculous save by Victor Cox keeps him in a challenging position as a slight hint of rain. But the brave Howie Mainwaring is the man who retakes the lead. Then Victor Cox has this awful accident at Paddock Hill Bend and throws away the Kawasaki to his frustration and annoyance. And finally, the red flag goes out, the rains come down. Howie Mainwaring has taken his first victory of the year for MSS Colchester Kawasaki. He's chuffed with that, and that puts him right back into the championship chase.
And we're here with our 3rd place finisher, Luke Quigley. Well, Luke, when you went out there after your 2nd qualifying session, you had a problem with the front end of the bike. You've changed that before the race. It looked like it came good. How did it feel out there?
Yeah, 2nd qualifying, I kind of let myself down. I should have tried a bit more stuff with the front of the bike, but we stiffened it up for warm-up, the front end of the bike, and it felt a lot better for the race. I could push on a bit harder. There's a few close manoeuvres out there. It got a little bit airy, but...
You are a politician, sir.
Yeah, it was, but managed to get through, so it was all right. And kind of closed in a little bit on leading too long. I thought, settle here a little bit and see how it goes, but started getting the spots around me, thinking, oh no, and then red flag, so never mind. But I'm pleased to be up here. I've got to thank the whole team, form-wise, BMW. I mean, we've been there or thereabouts all year, but we've never quite got on the podium sort of thing this year. I don't know why it hasn't happened, but now we're here. Hopefully we can stay here for the rest of the year and get it up there.
It was a cracking ride, and it's good to see you on the podium. But, Luke, we'll let you go to the podium now. Well done.
Thanks so much. Cheers.
There we go, Luke Quigley, our 3rd place finisher. Our 2nd place finisher is Dan Cooper on the build-based BMW. Dan Cooper. Richard Cooper. I don't know why I keep doing that. What is going on? It's because I've got Gino Rea just off to my left there. Sticking fingers. There you go. There's Gino Rea being the brolly girl at the moment. Richard, Coop, sorry about that. Talk about the race, because there were some heavy old passes going on there, and it looked like you had the moves early on.
Yeah, you know, I felt the time was so close in qualifying that I thought someone needed to get into the front and try and clear away from the rest of the guys, and it felt like me and Howie did that. And once Howie came by, it gave me a chance to look at the pit board and see, you know, where the rest of the guys was. And I saw we had a plus, 1 second, and I thought it's comfortable, and it stayed that like for a couple of 3 laps. And it was nice to follow Howie, to be fair. It takes the pressure off your shoulders, and the boys I'm battling with, Danny Buchan and Tristan Palmer, I knew were, a fair way back, and I've got to start thinking championship, albeit it's a long way to go. But that's what we're here to win, you know. Podiums are a bonus, championships what the main goal is to build base BMW. So nice to be back on the box. You know, the form's staying with us.
Given what's happened recently with the championship, with the points deduction and Danny's collarbone injury, does that championship title seem a bit closer than it did perhaps a couple of rounds ago?
If I'm 100% honest with you, you know, I've tried to blank all that out of my mind, you know, minus Tris points and Danny being injured. I've tried not to think about it. I've got to ride as hard as I can. Everyone knows that race day brings a different story, and Danny especially can dig deep at times, Tristan as well. So, you know, I've run my own race. I've tried not to think what them boys are doing, and it's worked, you know. But and I've got to say a massive thank you to Build Base BMW and Viaduct, Race Paint UK, and especially John Laverty in hospital, you know. Words go out to him and his family, and I hope he gets back with us soon. I'm sure he'd love to be in that garage and seeing us get the champagne sprayed, so get well soon, John.
We echo that sentiment entirely. Richard Cooper will let you go to the podium. Well done. There you go, second place finisher, Richard Cooper, now race winner. Howie Mainwaring, well, that race hectic all the way through. Howie, not much more we can say than that. How was it from your point of view?
No, it was a mega race, and that. I mean, me and Cooper all through qualifying, that'd be a good pace. I thought Victor Cox would have been there as well, to be honest, but no, I led the race from the start, and I thought, no, I'm going to back off a little. Not back off, but I could hear Cooper behind and that, and I didn't want to push any harder than what I was doing, as the front felt like I was pushing the front a little bit too hard and braking a little bit too late, and I thought we would have been braking good enough anyway. And Cooper come past, and we stayed with him for a few laps, and Cooper was quite quick at the back session on some of the faster turns, and I was quicker on some of the slower stuff, and started to go through the race. I thought I'll stay free and we'll try and gap everyone else, and then I seen a few spots of rain, and I thought I do not want what happened at Thruxton to me, so I thought it's time to get in the lead now. We made a move and never really looked back, to be honest with you.
How slippery did it get out there when the rain started coming down?
I mean, when it started to come, it started to spit, and it weren't too bad most of the race. It was spitting a little bit, and then towards the end at the back section, it started to rain a bit harder, and you could feel the tyres starting to move, and it was getting a little bit dangerous. So it was a good call, really.
Absolutely right. Another good result for you. Red flags or not, you'll take them as they come like this, won't you, Howie? We'll let you go to the podium. Well done.
I'd like to say a big happy birthday as well to Nick Morgan, and a big thank you to my sponsors, Walker Signs, and that, because I won't be here this weekend if it weren't for them, so thank you.
Excellent, nicely done. Off you go, spray some champagne, get more people more wet up there. Yeah, Nick Morgan, 55 years old today, so congratulations, Nick, and from us and everybody at MSS Colchester Kawasaki. Right, let's go on with the podium then. Jack will take us through it.
Wonder how many ages Nick Morgan's got to his name at the moment. We'll have to figure that one out. So the temporary shower, and it does seem fairly temporary, I must admit. It's already brightened up right behind the garages here. Those guys probably don't feel it just yet, but certainly the weather is already on the change once again as we prepare for the Volkswagen British Supersport Championship race. But right now we're going to check out the podium for the 1000cc Metzler National Superstock Championship. Third place going to Luke Quigley. Second place to Richard Cooper, and the winner for the first time this year, Howie Mainwaring. And some parts of them, it's amazing, some parts of the valley have the rain pouring down, and other parts it seems relatively dry. It's remarkable here. Howie Mainwaring certainly put himself back into championship contention here. It just could turn into quite a dramatic later stages of this championship. We've already had a championship change. The leader now, Richard Cooper, for Build Base BMW on bike number 47. Third place man through the mists of time, Luke Quigley. On the fine form-wise Astro BMW, it's a BMW 2.3. RC Richard Cooper then, a long-standing association with BMW Cooperman, and a long-standing association with Kawasaki for Howie Mainwaring, even though his first actual National Superstock Championship race was won on the exotic Italian MV Agusta. MV Agusta won at Alton Park, his home track, back in 2007, after surviving 180-mile-an-hour crash in the European Superstock Series at Monza, no less. So the trophies get presented to third place man Quigley, second place man Richard Cooper, and the winner, Howie Mainwaring. Finished 11th in the Superstock Championship in 07, 15th in 08, 12th in 09, 4th last year, looking to go better still, and Nick Morgan just about escapes. The birthday boy of unspecified vintage just about escapes then from his race winner, MSS Colchester Kawasaki's Howie Mainwaring.
So there we go then, that's the podium for the Metzler National Superstock 1000 race. Done and dusted, and Nick Morgan, for a man who is nearly knocking on 80 years old, very fast on the podium there to get out of the way of the spray and champagne. It really is. We're going for a short break, but when we come back it's time for the Fuchs Silkeline British Supersport Championship race. That is next.